Okay guys, so Black Clover chapter 288 is out, and this chapter just kind of proves that at this point, Asta's on a completely different level, at least on the good guy side, when it comes to strength in his Devil Union mode. Because, I mean, we see him easily bodying two high-ranking devils without it really struggling at all. And I mean, of course, a little phenomenon when it comes down to it, these two characters, they're the first two out of the first gate of the Trio Kleepoff, so obviously they're probably on the weaker side of the high-ranking devils. But still, the fact that they're easily being handled by Asta in this chapter just shows that when it comes down to it, he is completely outranking everyone else when it comes to strength. Like seriously, I'm looking back on that fight with Zagred and seeing how much Asta struggled in that fight. In fact, everyone struggled in that fight, and that was pretty much a 7v1. Seeing how much that fight was a struggle for Asta and then comparing it to this one, it shows that in like 80 or so chapters, he's really grown strength-wise as a character. And I mean, I really hate to say it because I love the character so much, but I think I might have to pass the crown of the strongest character in Black Clover from Mario Leona over to Asta, at least when he's using his Devil Union mode. And I would say that the only thing that's really stopping him from being the definite strongest character on the good guy side is the fact that he can only hold the mode for about 5 minutes. But once he gets rid of that time limit, the sky's the limit for Asta. He can basically just become the strongest character that we've seen in the series so far, even stronger than Julius. And you know what? Seeing how strong Asta is right now just really makes me wonder how much stronger can he end up becoming? Like if Black Clover doesn't end in this arc like some people think it will, then how much stronger by the end of the series will he be from where he is right now? I just hope that if the series continues, Asta does not continue to basically just completely outshine and outmatch everyone else. Like seriously, I don't want to get to the point where we have Asta being kind of like how Naruto and Sasuke were in Naruto, where by the end of the series, they were pretty much gods compared to everyone else. Like, I wanted so, and Tobias actually been pretty good with this, I wanted to continue to be that everyone else actually gets power-ups along with Asta, and they continue to stay, you know, obviously still weaker than him, but around the same level to the point where they're not basically just fodder characters compared to him. Now, there's a certain moment in the chapter that I think most reviewers are going to focus the majority of their review on, and I'm sure that this moment is actually the best moment for a lot of people from this chapter, but I gotta say, my favorite moment from the chapter is actually on the first page, when we get to see Finral talking about how Asta flew off from them and rushed ahead by himself, and we get to see exactly how far away the Black Bulls, the rest of the Black Bulls, are away from the capital, and they are still, I would say, a couple miles away. And the reason why this is my favorite moment from the chapter is because assuming that Magna, Zora, and Gordon all joined up with the Black Bulls again prior to them leaving the Clover Kingdom, then in the next few chapters, because every single character from the Black Bulls will be in the Spade Kingdom, we can finally get a shot of the entire squad all reunited together in one spot. Because keep in mind, the last time we saw the entirety of the Black Bulls all together, minus Nock obviously because he hadn't been introduced to us yet, but the last time we saw the entire squad together was back in chapter 219 when Nero and Asta were on trial for their connection to the devil. So keep in mind, that was, what, 69 chapters ago? And still technically they were together in chapter 220 as well. But you get my drift. The last time we actually got to see the entire squad together in one place was 69 chapters ago, over a year ago, almost 2 years ago at this point. And you know what, when we get that moment, I wouldn't be surprised if that actually ends up hitting me harder than when we got the entirety of the Straw Hat crew reunited in one piece during the Wano arc. Because prior to that, the entire crew had not been together for about 3 arcs at that point. So that was actually a very exciting moment, and considering how long, almost 2 years, since the last time we saw the entirety of the Black Bulls together in the manga outside the anime, I can tell you right now that when we actually finally get to see the entire team reunited, I'm just going to lose my mind. We get some more self-loathing from Nock in this chapter, but before we get into that, I do want to say that Guimaudo running to Nock crying in this chapter, saying, hey, please don't die, Master, because if you die, we're going to end up getting tortured in, you know, the underworld. That moment was extremely cute, and I've always kind of found Guimaudo and the rest of Nock's devils, when they're in their chibi forms, to be extremely cute. And I'm honestly surprised if they don't already have them in Japan already, that they haven't made like plushie dolls for, you know, all his devils and even Leap. And I can imagine with how popular Black Clover has been recently, that at some point in the near future, they probably will, if it continues to be as successful as it is, that they will probably make plushie dolls because that's just easy money right there. But yeah, like I said, we get some more self-loathing from Nock in this chapter because he tells Asta as soon as he shows up to save him, hey listen man, I don't matter, my life does not matter, don't focus on saving me, go fight the Dart Triad, they're the ones you should be focused on right now, which I kind of disagree with Nock because, I mean, yeah, the Dart Triad are powerful, especially now that they can access 100% of Lucifero, Megakua, and whatever the hell Xenon's devil's name is. Yeah, now that they can access 100% of their powers, they are a big threat, but they're solely focused on fighting Jack, Charlotte, and Yuno at this point. They're not really focused on doing anything else. And yeah, stopping them would, you know, be one step closer to stopping the ritual from the Trio Kleepoff. But at the same time, we got two high-ranking devils right in front of you. I mean, yeah, the Dart Triad are strong, but we saw because of the fact that how Luffy and Nama reacted to Dante in the chapter after they were brought to the human world, that they are definitely, even when they're not serious, way stronger than him. So they should be the main priority right now. Like, getting rid of them right now should be the main priority as fast as you can, and then dealing with the Dart Triad after that. And you know, after seeing those flashbacks, we understand now why Nock's saying this, because he really does not care if he lives or dies, as long as he can basically stop evil at its root. And he doesn't see himself as being someone worth saving, because he still holds that guilt of getting his brother killed, which, again, he should. He's definitely 100% to blame for his brother's death, maybe 95% with 5% being on his parents, but still, he still holds most of the blame for Morgan's death. But, and I gotta hand it to the bottom for keeping Asta's character, his core values the same from the beginning of the series to where he's at right now, no matter how much he's developed, it's always been the same. He will still try his hardest, even if they don't want to live, he will always still fight to protect the people that he respects, and he holds a high amount of respect for Nock, not only because of the fact that he's the vice captain of the Black Bulls, and not only because of the fact that he trained him, and Asta's always had high respect for people that had trained him, but because at the end of the day, Asta sees that Nock is actually a good person at heart. And the fact that Asta has so much faith in him, and the fact that Asta wants him to live, and the fact that he actually does resemble, despite his abilities being completely opposite of what Morgan's were, the fact that his personality resembles heavily Morgan's, it really does show that Nock is seeing his brother in Asta and actually gives him the hope that maybe, even though he actually has, you know, crushing guilt over getting Morgan killed, maybe now that he has Asta in his life, maybe now Asta can be the one to show him salvation. And now that Asta's given Nock this kind of like newfound hope, I really wonder what's going to end up happening the next time Nock actually meets up with Yami face to face. Because I still had this theory that Yami tried to save Nock in the same way that Asta has, but because Nock doesn't see Yami as being the same kind of good-hearted person that Morgan was, he wasn't willing to accept that, and this is probably the reason why he hates Yami so much. So I'm wondering, now that he's been saved by Asta, next time he comes face to face with Yami, is he going to actually, you know, kind of turn his feelings around on Yami? Is he not going to hate him anymore? And can we actually see the two of them actually go back to being kind of close friends like they were in the beginning of Nock's flashback? Okay, so now getting into the actual fight between Asta and the Twin Devils, at first glance it actually does look like that Asta's more on par with the two of them than he is winning the fight throughout the chapter, and it took me reading the chapter 3 times before I could finally understand what's really going on. But if you really pay attention during the fight, you can tell that Asta is very easily countering every single attack that Lil Phenomena throw at him. In fact, the only reason why he's actually having any kind of struggle during the fight is because of the fact that 1, they are able to throw large quantities of attacks at him, and 2, they're seemingly able to easily move their bodies throughout the fire and ice that they created on the field, so they can pretty much disappear and reappear at any point as long as there's ice or fire connecting that spot. And then we get to the moment from the chapter that everyone's been talking about. We see Asta pull out the Demon Destroyer Sword, which looks like it went through a major evolution now that he's actually in his Devil Union mode, which is kind of interesting because we see him using the Demon Slayer Sword, I believe, throughout the entire fight, and that doesn't look like it went through any kind of evolution. It just looks like it's coated in anti-magic. So I wonder why the Demon Destroyer Sword went through an evolution and changed its appearance, but the Demon Slayer Sword didn't. And I wonder, does this mean that the other 2 swords that Asta has will also go through evolutions as well, or are they going to actually end up staying the same? But anyway, with this evolution, it looks like the Demon Destroyer Sword's special ability actually got an upgrade as well, because we see him use Causality Break in this chapter, which is the special ability of this sword, and it basically negates all the magic in the area. So literally the entire field of fire and ice that Lil Phenomena created, it just disappears out of nowhere. And even their advanced forms where they basically have the black parts of their bodies covered in flames and ice, they disappear as well. And this is actually a major upgrade to this ability because, and correct me if I'm wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure that every other time that Asta's used Causality Break, he had to actually have the sword come in physical contact with the magic or the person or the ability that he's actually trying to negate. But in this chapter, he actually just lifts it in the air, and it immediately erases all the magic in the area. And yeah, once their magic is gone, Lil Phenomena are just left there stunned, and this gives Asta the opportunity to basically go in and slash Nama. Now, we don't actually get to see Nama die in this chapter, and I'm assuming that in the next chapter, basically, he's going to be, not fine, but he's still going to be alive, because if he actually was dead, we would kind of get confirmation of that in this chapter. And what I'm actually thinking is going to end up happening in the next chapter is that, because of the fact that it's very clear that Tabata originally designed these 2 characters to be kind of like 2 separate halves of the same character, I'm wondering if in the next chapter, because of the fact that Nama was very heavily injured by Asta, that we're going to see the 2 of them actually combine into one single devil. But anyway, guys, that's it for this week's chapter. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought about it. Like, were you excited getting to see Asta fight off against the Twin Devils by himself and seemingly win at the end of the chapter? Are you excited by the brand new transformation for his Demon Destroyer Sword and his new upgraded ability? And please tell me I'm not the only one who's excited by the idea that we will finally get the entirety of the Black Bulls back together after almost 2 years of being separated. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, drop me a like. Subscribe to the channel. I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.